Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to another episode on the Speak Sense podcast with me, Osama Musa, at Muslim Amir. And today I have somebody who I've been trying to get on the podcast for a very long time, somebody who's very inspirational, mashallah, an innovator, and somebody who, may Allah accept his efforts, is going to be helping several new Muslims and existing Muslims, reverts, and people that are born into the religion because he is the inventor and the founder of the world's first interactive prayer mat, the founder of My Salah Mat. It's an absolute pleasure to have him here with me today to hear about his journey and about everything that led up to this invention. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Kamal Ali. I'm excited to have you here, bro.
Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Salam.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you for the invite. And I've been looking forward to this for a long time too, bro.
Alhamdulillah, bro. It's exciting because I love when particularly innovators and inventors are here because you guys just think differently. And I can't wait to hear about your journey. And inshallah, our viewers can benefit from this as much as I'm going to benefit. And let's get started. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Tell us a little bit about your journey so far and what was it like growing up?
Thank you. Bismillahir Rahim. I don't know where to start, to be honest. I mean, I always start from because I remember this moment really clearly. You know, I'm in this room. I'm in a room in my house. It's not a very big room, and my son is next to me, and I'm praying, and he joins me. He just starts joining me to pray, and we go to sujood, and I notice in the corner of my eye that he's struggling to put his hand, head, and nose together in sujood. So when I finish the prayer, I'm like, okay, Hamza, this is how you do sujood. And he's still struggling, right? And I'm thinking to myself, regardless of this, I want to get him something that's going to inspire him, that's going to kind of make him want to, give him kind of some joy in wanting to learn how to pray. And so I thought, yeah, okay, I'm gonna just go on Amazon and I'm just gonna get it. And I went on Amazon, looked on the internet, and there was nothing available for kids. The only thing available for kids at that time was just a smaller version of the normal traditional prayer mat. And I thought, yeah, this is cool, but like that's not what I want. I want a prayer mat that has hand prints and feet prints and nose prints and head prints, so he knows exactly where to put his hands, head, and nose together, especially for sujood. And not finding anything, I started designing it.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And just so that our audience can know, what background is your studies and your profession?
So yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate that my background is product design. I've got a postgraduate, undergraduate, and a postgraduate in product design. I've also been a teacher for about a decade, secondary school, high school teacher. I've taught locally, nationally, and had the opportunity to teach in an international school in Cairo, which was one of the best times of my life, to be honest. I spent 2 years there, and the people there are fantastic. I've worked as a product designer for companies in Hong Kong. We managed to get actually part of my other company that I set up years ago was Hajj Safe. And part of that, we developed a range of designs, but also a range of cosmetics. And I licensed out my brand to Turkish Airlines and Qatar Airlines so that they can use the Hajj Safe brand on some of the cosmetics that they developed.
MashaAllah. That's very exciting.
Mashallah.
Very exciting.
Yeah,
And
it was really good.
we're going to dive into your business achievements and challenges and all of that a bit later on in this conversation, inshallah. But I want to take it back. I want to take it back to young Kamal. What was it like for you growing up in the West as a young Muslim in obviously Wales?
Yeah, I mean, like Wales, I'm from a small town in Wales called Newport. Cardiff is the capital of Wales. But we're far, we're small compared to London, Birmingham, Manchester, Bradford. Growing up, alhamdulillah, I learned Islam through a really nice lady. We used to go to her house every day after school. 4 o'clock, we'd be there till I think 5, 6 o'clock sometimes, learning Quran, learning Salah. There were mosques that you could go to, but this was closer, when you're young. And also even the mosques, they were, they had lots of people, lots of kids, 80 children to one teacher. And amongst my friends, me and amongst our kind of small little group of people in our community, even the ones that went to the mosques and the ones that didn't, we kind of all got kind of very similar level of education, Islamic education, and it was very basic. It was always very basic. But I never really understood Islam until I would say university. You grow up, and this is what I try to explain to people all the time. When we brought out the adult version, the revert version of the interactive prayer mat, yes, it's for reverts, but it's also for adults, because there are a lot of people, and I've been through that myself. You learn Salah, you learn Islam as a young child, but then you get to you go through education, GCSE, A levels, degree. You kind of put that, you shouldn't, but it happens, right? You put it in the background, and at some point you realize how important Islam is. You realize how important Salah is, and that realization comes from Allah. That's an amazing realization that Allah is putting you back on the right path. And at that moment, you need something. You need people around you that are going to support you, that are going to help you kind of find yourself again, find Islam, find Allah, find Salah. And for me, I'm a much stronger believer because of that, because of my journey almost back to Islam, almost refinding the meaning behind a lot of the reasons why we pray, why we fast, why we go to Hajj, and really understanding them on a much deeper level because you're much older. And that your reinforcement of for me, my reinforcement of, is there Allah, isn't there Allah? I was like, there's no doubt, there's no question that we're going to, there's a heaven, there's a hell, there's no question of that. And when you kind of realize that there's no question of Allah, of going to heaven, going to hell, then your actions and what you do and everything around just changes. And this is why I'm in doing this, because for me it's not the reward of what I get in it. Allah rewards anyone on the path of Islam, right? You get rewarded in this world, and inshallah you get rewarded in the hereafter, and that's the reward. That's the great reward, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, alhamdulillah. And mashallah, bro, it's nice to know that there's people like you out there that are supporting all kinds of Muslims, and especially now I think we need it more than ever, because our young children are very easily influenced these days, and having something that interacts with them, given the way that they learn things nowadays, it's not like back before, where people can just read books and actually have the attention span to read lots of books and grasp that information. We are more audio visual and learn through maybe modeling. So having an interactive prayer mat is actually very, very effective in the current generation that we are currently living in. And I want to know, bro, so when you were younger, what did you aspire to be when you got older?
I remember when I was in primary school, and I wasn't very good at anything, but I really enjoyed drawing, and I really enjoyed art. And I remember it's really funny actually. I remember a moment, and I still remember it now. I think I was 10 or 9 or 10, year 5 or year 6. I can't remember exactly what year. And but I remember the moment. I remember I drew this car. It was a Ferrari, and it was red, and I drew it really well, and it looked really good. And the teacher held it up to the class, and everybody was like, wow, that's really good. And I remember that moment of feeling like, wow, actually I'm quite good at something. And I think that I just carried that forward, I did GCSE art. I did A-level art. I did other A-levels that I didn't do very well in. But then I went on to a diploma in art and design. And I think that's when I thrived. I really thrived on my diploma in art and design. I had some really great teachers. I had two really good teachers. But I was really dedicated at that time. Before A levels, I was all over the place, but at diploma level, I was really dedicated. I went in every day. I must have spent 12 hours every day in university, creating, making things, drawing, painting. We did everything. We did graphics, we did videography, we did photography. And it really set me up. It really set me up for my degree because I had a path. I really enjoyed this and I really wanted to do it.
MashaAllah. And, it's a great moment here to just pause and actually understand the true value of good teachers, of, role models. And the fact that, your teacher at such a young age, gave you the opportunity to be recognized in your class for the work that you did. And obviously, these small little moments in our lives make a huge difference sometimes. And we don't know how much that impacts us because that small moment where you got that recognition, like let's say you just drew that card, but there was no recognition, you might not have gone into art and design the way that you did. That small act from your teacher to recognize this is a good piece of work, let the others recognize this is a good piece of work, and give Kamal that confidence of appreciation. And I think that that's really important. And then going into university, spending that much time. I mean, barakallahu feek, brother. When I was at university, I mean, I probably spent 1 hour a week studying or going into university sometimes. So that just shows the true passion that you had for what you did. And that's actually is that's very relevant because I was not passionate about what I studied. So I was just going in for I went to university for different reasons, not for the actual degree. So alhamdulillah, this just also shows that when you have certain significant moments in your life, they play a huge role in who you're going to become and the character that you build. And that also allowed you to understand that maybe going into, like, for example, I never went into a BTech, a diploma, something that was very specific. Like I should have with how much I love business and business studies or media studies, I should have probably gone into one of those as a BTech or a diploma where it was just focused. What you did is actually you honed in on your strengths. I'm really good at art. I'm not going to waste my time on other things because I tried at A levels, didn't work out. I'm actually going to hone in my skills and go all in on what I'm good at. And it's something that we actually say in leadership and to businesses and to individuals. Focus on your strengths. Don't keep trying to improve your weaknesses because even if you improve your weakness from a 3 to a 5, it's still only a 5. But if you improve your strength from a 7 to an 8, an 8 to a 9, a 9 to maybe get to a 10, that small jump in strength is not just a one jump, it's a huge leaps. But when you focus on your weaknesses and improve, you might end up staying at a 7 on your strengths and then an average of a 5 on your weaknesses. You're not really the best at anything. So, that's really exciting to hear that. So inshallah, obviously you focused on your art and design, you focused on things that were creative. And now, mashallah, you have a very creative product. So I want to know what has been your best achievement so far in business?
In business, it's a really difficult question. I mean, there's I think what happens in business, and for me, what happened in business is, I see every little thing as a little achievement, right? As a milestone. So for me, for example, when I first came up with the idea and the prototype and putting that, getting that to manufacture, for me, that was a massive milestone, right? Because here I was, in a small town in Newport, in Wales, and I've just invented the world's first interactive prayer mat. And I'm not, obviously, don't contemplate any of that. And I'm now going to be bringing in a ship full of these products and I need to sell it. So it's like, wow. But like then selling those products, people buying them, people, writing nice messages, that it was a massive milestone. We started our social media platform, Instagram, and I remember getting to 20,000 followers. I was just like, wow, and that was done within like 6 months or something crazy like that. And how did we get to that level? But now, alhamdulillah, we're on like, and without, not boasting, we're always very, we're very, we love our achievements, and I think everybody should. We're on over 100,000 followers on Instagram, and only recently, you probably saw it on our LinkedIn, we started focusing on YouTube, and alhamdulillah, we've got our YouTube account just over 100,000 followers. So these are massive achievements for us, and about 3 months ago in August, actually I knew earlier, I knew in July, I applied for a patent when I first developed the product. Now, the patent process is so long, it's so expensive, and we kept getting knockback. So the examiner who looks at the patents looks at every single thing that's been invented in that category, anything that's similar, and then comes back to us and says, oh, we found something similar, yours is in the patent. And we would go back and say, yeah, it's similar, but it doesn't do this that our patent does. And then they would look at that and then come back. That took 5 years. We built, alhamdulillah, a pretty good business in that time. And only recently we were awarded the patent. They looked at everything. They said, you're right. We can't find anything similar to what you've invented. We've granted you the patent. And that in itself, that for me as a product designer, was like the cherry on the cake, and you can say, because it's such a as a product designer, you design products, you're designing all the time for companies or yourself, but you never have that. I always had an aspiration of, I want a patent. I don't know why, from my university days, I always had that, wanted to invent something that was original, and that to me was like a certificate to say you've done it.
I can only imagine, bro, how exciting that must have felt, or how proud as well. Because, like you said, as a product designer, that's probably the ultimate goal. Having something designed that is unique in its existence and no one else can now copy. Because having a patent means no one else can copy that. So you actually own the rights to this product as well, which is super, super incredible and a super proud achievement. So I want to know, what has been your biggest lesson in life or in business along this journey?
I'll refer to this journey, the journey of creating and inventing the prayer mat. And I think for me, and a lot of it does relate back to Islam. For me, it's when you come across an obstacle, when you come across a problem, right? The first thing I do, I make dua, and we shouldn't just make dua when we come across obstacles. We shouldn't just be grateful when we come across obstacles. I know that, but it's the thing that we do, right? We come across a problem, and it's like, now we return to Allah, like, Allah help us, and it's a human thing, right? And for me, when I came across obstacles, I now have this perception. I have this perspective that either this obstacle means that Allah doesn't want me to do this, right? I shouldn't progress. Or this obstacle means Allah's testing me to see how much I want this, and how much am I willing to work for this, right? Or this obstacle is there to teach me something and make me stronger in my kind of devotion, in my kind of path to achieve this, right? And it's making me stronger, maybe not for this path, but it's making me stronger for a path that is going to come after this path or after that path, right? And it's quite deep, right? And because I think people, myself, let's talk about myself, in the past, I would come across an obstacle and I'd be, oh my God, and I worry and I stress, and I'd kind of like, that worry and stress would just make me not want to progress and want to do it. But I've come to a point where I'm just like, okay, hold on a second. This is an obstacle. Let's look at it. Let's see what we can do. And I'll give you one example, actually. I can't remember when, but I remember it was Christmas time, right? In the UK. I'm in the UK and it's Christmas period, December, right? And actually it's Christmas Day, right? So I'm in the UK, it's Christmas Day, everybody's off work. Us Muslims, we get together as a family, and I'm going to a family dinner that day. So I wake up that morning early, like that night, the night before, I noticed on Amazon that somebody's selling a fake version of my product, right? And it's a complete counterfeit. They copied the branding, the name, everything. And as you can imagine, it's early days as well. And as you can imagine, I'm really like quite upset, and I just don't know what to do. I'm just like, I haven't got a clue. So I try and find an email for Amazon, right? Like, good luck with that, right? So, but they have a really good process. They have a brand registry process. I have not a clue, right? And I go onto their registry and I register. I have to register my trademark. So I've got a trademark, so I registered the trademark. And then I go through the process and I report them. And then they say, no, we can't accept it. They don't give no explanation as to why. And then it's like no again and no again. And then now I go to this family dinner and I'm so upset because I am against this Goliath of Amazon and this little old me. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. I can't get around this. And I don't know, something in me, alhamdulillah, I always find the answers in sujood, right? I'm thinking, and always in sujood, Allah shows me a path. It's really amazing. And I'm in sujood and I remember something and I'm like, okay, let me try this. And then I go on there and I read a bit more and I understand a bit more and I report them. And alhamdulillah, it's like Amazon accepts it and they remove the fake listing. But for me at that point, it was like, I could have just been like, oh, that's it, it's finished, give up. But that taught me a really strong lesson in perseverance, in keep, like, obstacles are there to teach you a lesson. Obstacles are there to bring you back to Allah. Obstacles are there to make you stronger for the next path.
MashaAllah, bro, that was really powerful. And there's also, obviously sujood is where we're closest to Allah. That's obviously, as Muslims, we know that. And there's actually scientific evidence that supports that when we're in sujood, there are these magnetic wavelengths between us and the earth. And actually the Qibla, which is obviously Kaaba, is actually in Mecca. The center of the earth is there. Where the Kaaba is the center point of the earth. And when you do sujood on the ground, in the direction of the center of the earth, which is Kaaba, the magnetic wavelengths that are released and synergized between you and the earth and whatever, subhanallah, has a huge benefit. And it has things like reducing depression and all types of things. So it makes actually even more sense when you say that sometimes your brain works in a way and Allah sends a signal. It's all interconnected.
Wow.
It's obviously the qadr of Allah first and foremost, obviously, because without the grace and mercy of Allah, this wouldn't occur. And then second of all, it's subhanallah, it triggers all these different things in our psychology, in our brain, in our way of thinking. And I'm sure you will know this. The longer that we're in sujood, subhanallah, the deeper things get. Especially when it's like tahajjud and you're in sujood and everything's just peace, quiet, dark, tranquil, and you're in sujood just speaking to Allah. Some of these great conversations happen with Allah, and Allah gives us the power and strength to rely upon Him and find the answers. And like you said, Allah says to come to me a hand's length, I'll come to you an arm's length. Come to me walking, I'll come to you running. So as Muslims, we should always remember that. And like you said, when we have the obstacles that we're faced with, it's either Allah trying to teach us something and test us, or it's Allah saying to us, listen, this is not the best thing for you right now. Maybe you getting the patent 5 years later was the perfect time for you and not back then. Maybe you developed your product further in the 5 years So then the pattern actually became stronger. You don't know all these things. Allah gives you what's yours when it's the right time for you. You might not be ready for it, you know? So that is, you know, alhamdulillah, as Muslims, this allows us to have that peace of mind to know that Allah's in control. And, you know, we should always just have that faith and that tawakkul in Allah's plan for us. So I want to know, obviously, Kamal, I'm not going to reveal this, but obviously you've got a baby face, let's just put it that way. So if you could go back to being, if you could go back to being, mashallah, if we go back to being 20 years old, what is one advice that you would give your young self?
I think somebody who, you know, 20, I'm 20, and, you know, at that time, I'm not married, I don't have kids, I've got very little responsibility in university. So at that time, I would definitely say, you know, you have, sounds like a cliche, but use your time wisely. Kind of definitely that's the time to, you know, if I went back to 20, I would definitely want to learn Arabic, for example. So learn something that will definitely be very difficult when you have kids and when you're married, to devote that time. You know, I would love to have started the process of learning Arabic and then travel to an Arabic country and live there for 3 months, 6 months, and practice until I became proficient in Arabic. I would have loved to have done that.
Do you know what you know, subhanAllah, because the irony there is that you actually went to Egypt and obviously lived there.
Yeah.
So when you were in Egypt, did you not pick up the language? Because I know a lot of my friends that go to Egypt, they tend to come back with at least a little bit of the dialect. Yeah. So you were.
So I went to an international school. They had a British curriculum and an American curriculum, and I taught digital animation. Everybody spoke English. All the kids spoke English. They were really good as well. You know, there was no language barriers. I worked from something like 8 o'clock in the morning till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. Come home, you know, I got my kids and my wife is there as well. So I spent some time with them, and literally, this is why, like, even when at an older age, when I was married and when I had kids, I actually lived in Egypt for 2 years. I couldn't pick up the language because you just don't have time. So younger 20-year-old me, hopefully, would have had the time, wouldn't have no responsibilities of spending time with their children or giving their spouse time or their family and things like that. So yeah, definitely, you know, I'm a prime example how you could then at an older age live in an Arabic country, you know, and not learn the language. So I'm a bad example.
That's, you know, it makes sense.
That's why I said,
and actually, when we get older, obviously, as well, our brain isn't able to remember things as easy. That's why, like with Quran memorization, they suggest always start them young because the brain is more powerful to be able to remember. And actually, the things that you learn when you're younger, when you come back, even if you've forgotten it over the years, you pick it up again because it's already wired in the brain somewhere. So, you know, that is, you know, alhamdulillah. And I think language is also one of those things, bro. I think if there's no passion for the language, it makes it even harder. Like I tried to learn Spanish and I always thought I wanted to learn Spanish. And, you know, I done it for a few weeks and I just got bored of doing it, you know. So I think you need to have that sort of passion for it. And speaking of passions, bro, obviously you're a successful businessman, mashallah, successful business owner and innovator. There are many people that will be watching this interview, inshallah, that may be looking to start their own businesses or are in business. So what's one business tip you would give those people, given your experience?
So like my background is product design, right? I'm no way a businessman. I didn't do business studies, not even at GCSE level. So I would say, like, taking me as an example, I would say, if you want to get into business and you have no experience with business, do it, because honestly, you can learn a lot of the things. you just said passion, and your passion wasn't there. That's the key element, isn't it? In anything that somebody wants to do, right? You have to have the passion. I always say to people, because everybody's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'm like, but do you love it? Do you want to, do you really want to do it? Why are you doing it? Understand why. Actually, that's the key thing I always talk about. Understand why are you doing it? And if you find that the reason why you're doing something is because you want to make money, and a lot of people have this understanding and this reasoning, and some people can be very successful by just wanting to make lots of money. But I don't follow that ethos. I don't follow that vision at all. And my ethics aren't lined with money. I always think for myself, I always think if I follow money, or when I have kind of try to do something because I think it's going to be profitable and make money, I've always not made money. I feel that if you follow your passion to that, I really want to write a book, for example, like if somebody really wants to write a book and they can't see the money in it, and really book writing and in books there's hardly any money, but if you really have a passion for that and you follow it, people will feel that passion. And when they read your book, they'll feel they'll feel something, a bit of something in you that you gave through that product, through that writing. And then the blessings, right? Allah will bless the person who has that right intention, right? My intention, for both products actually. So when I had the My Salah Mat and it was all ready and I need to go to production, I had a bill from the manufacturer and it was in excess of like $40,000. And I'm like, where am I going to get $40,000 from? I'm just a humble teacher at that time. And I had a thought, and all the way I wasn't doing it for money, but now obviously if I'm going to pay $40,000, I need to make some money out of this, or I need to sell this. But I had a vision, I had a thought that came to my mind, and the thought was, if I can help one child pray or learn how to pray, and that child then continues to pray throughout the rest of their life, I'm like, that's it, I'm done. Inshallah, Allah will accept that, and I'm safe, inshallah, in the hereafter. And that was what I followed. And because I followed that, Allah made everything else easy. I negotiated with the manufacturer to take half the production instead of the full production. So I reduced my cost in half. I used my life savings. I had help and support from friends and family. And then I opened up, when the products were on the container, I opened up pre-orders, and alhamdulillah, half the container, half the goods was pre-sold before it even arrived. And, alhamdulillah, that was all because I feel it was all because of that intention. It wasn't the money, it was to help and support. And I've always done that throughout my whole life. And I think as two things, as a product designer, I've always wanted to design things and make things that will help and benefit people. And I've always wanted to kind of invent something that was never done before, right? And when we were thinking about the adult and the revert version of an interactive prayer mat, we had so many requests on social media, on TikTok. People were like, make an adult version, make one for reverts, and it was loads of it. Our first video that we launched was literally a video with screenshots of all the comments. So it's like comment of like people saying, make a revert, make an adult, make a revert version. And that was the video that we then used to release the product. But the vision that I had, like before I even said, I'm going to do this, or I want to make this, because along the way I was like, I don't know, I don't want to, I don't know whether I should do it or not. And the boys in the office were talking, the guys in the office were talking, and I was standing, I was leaned against the table, and everything else, all the sound just vanished. And I had this vision in my head of somebody taking the shahada, and they take the shahada with the imam, and after they take the shahada, imam gives them a big hug, and then everybody around them gives them a big hug, and everybody's happy. But then the imam then presents the person who's just taken the shahada with a whole load of books to go and learn how to pray, what fasting is about Islam. And I'm thinking to myself, how long will it take this person to start praying? And I thought, if I can invent something or make something that will help this person pray, listen to the Quran, listen to the Fatiha, do sujood, do the actions, and pray from the day they take the Shahada, that will be the best thing ever, right? That will inspire them to continue, hopefully, because listening to the recitations of the Quran is pleasing to the body and the soul, and that will, afterwards, talking to some people who work with reavers, I found that actually 70% of people who become Muslim actually go back to not being Muslim because of the lack of support and everything that they get. And I feel that because of the lack of interaction that they have with Allah through Salah. And it's really amazing. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much, but it's really amazing that only last week I had a video sent from my distributor in Germany, and literally a person took their shahada in Germany, and the imam presented them with the My Salah Mat, the adult version of the interactive prayer mat. And then within an hour, the imam opened the box up, showed the person who just took the shahada how it works. And the person was doing salah and doing sujood. And I was like, Allah has shown me my vision, like playing out my vision in real life. And for me, those are like just those are just moments, isn't it? Aren't they? They just, you can't make them up, you can't make so like another example would be like, so when you make dua and you ask Allah to put barakah and put blessing in what you're doing. I've always read istihara before I make any big decision. And when you do this, you see magic. Honestly, it's like, obviously it's not magic, it's Allah, it's Allah's will. But you see things play out in your life that you think, how is that possible? So as a designer, I can design as much as I can, right? But I cannot design this. So my intention, well, the reason why I started developing the My Salah Mat, the kids version, was because my son was struggling to do sujood. So I developed this product. And today, whether a child is Muslim or non-Muslim, when they see the prayer mat, the very first thing they do is sujood. And I can't design for that. I cannot design for that. That is pure blessing from Allah. That Allah's put that blessing in that prayer mat. The first thing a child, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim, whether they've ever seen a prayer mat or not, the very first thing they do is sujood. That's amazing,
bro. Honestly, if I had the capabilities to cry or bring tears to my eyes, this would have been one of those moments. Because, bro, it's just so, first of all, the passion that you have for your product, the intention that you have, and obviously the product in itself is an amazing product. I mean, that's goes without saying. And the intention behind the product is just as amazing as the product itself. Because, like you said, and I think I can vouch for this, whenever I've tried to follow the money just keeps running away. When you start doing things with the right intentions, money follows. And I think that was a key point that you said for anybody that's watching this, that's looking to start a business. And we spoke about passions. I mean, look how passionate you are. You're probably, if you didn't have your family and wife and kids, you'd probably be happy to spend 24 hours a day just working on this product and making it better and selling it and marketing it and, watching people do sujood from it. And the fact that Allah enabled you to see your vision and live your vision of somebody who's a revert, new to Islam, getting presented the Salah Mat from an imam, that in itself is amazing. And I think what you said as well was very true. I mean, I know a lot of revert brothers and sisters that were struggling with Salah and that support network and reciting Quran. And I would see the amount of work they would do just to memorize a surah, especially Fatiha, for example, so that their prayers are accepted, And even some people that are born into the religion, they wouldn't even know Al-Fatiha. They would pray and I'd say, what would you recite in your prayer? And they would say, I would just ask Allah to give me things, And I'd say, how would you do that? And they would say, I would just have a conversation that I'm having with you, because they wouldn't know Al-Fatiha. So having something like your product is obviously something that is incredible. And I'm so happy when I see somebody like yourself with the amount of passion that you have. And, you could talk about it all day, talk about all these little moments, like you said, that, give you even more drive and motivation to actually develop it even more and take this product even further. So may Allah accept your efforts and put barakah in your business. So being somebody who's obviously got all of these responsibilities, I want to know, do you have a set routine that you follow? Maybe a morning routine, an evening routine, maybe it's a routine during the day. Do you have a routine as such?
You know, I honestly don't. I mean, for me, my kids, my kids give me the routine that actually is probably the best routine. And what I try and do now is, alhamdulillah, I'm in a fortunate position where I can do this. And I think to myself, you know, why not? Because you can only get your children at a certain age, right? And when they grow, they, you know, it becomes, they're not children anymore. So why, for me, I don't want to waste that time. So my routine would be, you know, get up, pray Fajr, and obviously depending on what time of the year it is. At the moment, it's, you know, it's really late. It's very close to school time, so I just stay awake. So pray Fajr, wake up the kids, get the kids up for school, get them, you know, they get themselves ready these days. So get them breakfast, take them to school, and then I come to the office. And my two kids, I got two kids in two different schools, so they didn't get into the same school, which was a disappointment. But I take one of my kids to school, and my wife takes the other one to school, and then I will work until school time. I will then pick them up from school, and then I'll try and spend as much time as I can with them in the evening. So that, but they do have very little time because they've got Arabic classes, they've got sports classes and things like that they go to. But that's my routine. And then, you know, they come, give them food, meal, evening meal, put them to bed, read them the surahs in the night, spend as much time as I can with them. And then after they're in bed, I'll probably spend a few hours on the laptop, just catching up with emails and things like that. And then that's it really. And then my day starts. And I always try and do what I need to do within that time, within the work time of 9 till 3 at the moment, which doesn't give me enough time. But sometimes, I mean, I do spend a whole day, one day in the weekend working. You know, I probably do very, very long hours. And then one weekend day, I will have off, and I want to spend the whole day with my kids and my family and stuff. So that's kind of pretty much the routine at the moment that I spend, that I do.
MashaAllah. And it's like you said,
Nothing special.
no, but I think this is one of the powers, like for me personally, the reason that I like being an entrepreneur or a business owner or somebody that is because of the freedom of my time. Yes, sometimes your work dictates how many hours you need to do. So sometimes I might have to wake up really early, have to work really late, whatever. But essentially having that freedom of time. So for example, for you, going from work from 9 till 3 and then having to pick up your kids, coming home, spending time with the family, and then having the luxury of continuing work when maybe they're asleep after maybe you've given time to your spouse, if there's things to catch up on, like you said. And then also having the flexibility of maybe weekends. I know Saturday, for example, I'll spend all day with the kids, but Sunday, I'm going to do the work that I needed to catch up on for the whole week. And I think this is one of the luxuries that we have as business owners. So obviously this also presents challenges. Speaking of challenges, I want to know, what is the most challenging thing that you've had to overcome or currently still overcoming?
I mean, it's the first thing that comes to my mind. I think it's the thing that's been a constant for a long time. So it's still there, which is the effects of counterfeit products. Unfortunately, when you bring out something that's amazing and other people see, you know, their eyes lit up with dollar signs, they're going to want to copy it and try and make and profit from it. And that's what's happened to us. And it doesn't stop. It's just constant. And we're constantly reporting listings on Facebook, on Instagram, on Amazon, on eBay, on other platforms like Shopee and Lazada and Noon. I actually have somebody, his name's Adam. He's an amazing guy. He's a university student, training to be a doctor, but he's so smart. And I've got him, you know, we've trained him to a point where he comes in twice a week. and just does all of the reporting. And that's how much work is required, bro. It's something like 15 to 20 hours a week that we spend on counterfeits, trying to report websites, buying the fake products, and then making videos and showing how it is a fake product. All of this takes time. But for me, it's also something that's always giving me energy to, can't let them win in a way. And look, it's not because I want to make all the money. They make counterfeit products from cheap materials. They don't go through safety tests. They put my name, put our logo on it. So when somebody buys this product and a safety issue is concerning a safety issue, something happens, they're going to blame My Salah Mat, right? And I can't allow that to happen, right? I can't take that responsibility on. So I need to get them off. They've taken our audio, which we paid for, which we got recorded. They've taken our design ideas, our icons, our trademark, and now obviously the patent, right? So these are things that that we're just dealing with on a daily basis all the time. So that's a massive challenge for us at the moment. But there's other lots of other challenges, obviously, every day. I mean, we're challenging with trying to work with companies in different countries. We get requests from so many different countries, but we can't ship to them because the shipping cost is so high. It's not always possible because of that country's tax and customs regulations, or the requirements that are needed that a normal ordinary person can't do. So we've got challenges of finding good companies in different countries, and that's one of the things that I try to concentrate on, is working out, hopefully working with people in different countries, and then being able to the goal, which is always being able to benefit the people in those countries, children in those countries, right? So those kind of challenges are always there.
I think one of the most surprising things, I didn't realize that the counterfeit products were actually using your brand. I thought they were just new entries into the market, but I didn't realize they would actually claim the brand itself. It's a bit strange and a bit unfair, to be honest. And I'm really happy that you're fighting that cause, because you shouldn't. Yeah, don't let them win. We don't want you to let them win. They can't win, bro. Inshallah, you can fight them all off. And I guess the challenge of entering new markets in new countries is a challenge that I think all businesses go through, because entering new markets, especially just new areas, maybe even trying to go into like Middle East, North Africa. If you break that down, the Middle East compared to North Africa, maybe I know, for example, Algeria, one of the hardest countries to get into and take money out of, for example. So even if you were to get your product in there, getting your money out of the country is very challenging. So it's not just about regions; it's actually breaking down like specific countries. Obviously, in contrast, if you to go to Dubai, which is also in the Middle East, North African region, it's way more easier to operate out of. So, mashallah, bro, it's been a great conversation today and lots of value. And I want you to end with, before a quick fire round questions, which is a bit of fun. But I want you to end with like the most valuable piece of advice that you could leave all of us with today. That is, let's say the Kamal value bomb.
Oh my God, you put me on the spot, bro. The most valuable piece of advice that I can give. Pray.
Wallahi, I had a feeling you were gonna say that, and I'm so happy that you said that. Yeah, it is.
Just came to me, honestly, and pray 5 times a day. Inshallah.
May Allah
5 are there for a great reason. They are your 5 daily pillars that will hold up any issues that you have. That will keep it above your head, and it won't fall on you, and it will protect you. Those 5 prayers will protect you throughout the day. They'll give you peace. They'll give you spiritual harmony. They'll give you, when your soul will be happy, and it'll resonate through through your whole body. You won't see it, but you'll have a shining glow around you. You know, it's amazing.
As
So
we
yeah.
say, the nur. The nur that shines upon people's faces, 100%. MashaAllah, your face is filled with nur. Allah barik. Okay, bro, let's have a bit of fun now. We want to find out a little bit more about
Okay.
you on a
Go.
day-to-day basis. Are you a burger or pizza kind of guy?
I go for burger. I
Burger.
don't like pizzas. Don't know why.
Subhanallah, okay. Are you socks before or after putting your trousers on when getting ready?
After.
After, okay.
After.
Nice. You brush your teeth before or after breakfast?
I always do it before. I always
Before.
do it before. It's like a routine for me before.
MashaAllah, that's good. Do you prefer movies or series?
Oh, it's difficult. So many good series. I don't know, difficult, both.
Like both.
But if I was to choose one, probably series, because I want longer enjoyment of something.
Yeah, that's cool. What's your favorite series?
I'm still gonna sound like a geek, but Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Okay. But
Yeah,
that's the movies or the
I
series?
like Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Rings.
I like the movie. The movie, obviously the classic, the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. The series was fine. The series was good, definitely good. I look forward to the next one. But yeah, the actual movies, the three movies, I can binge watch them three, definitely.
Do you prefer personal development books, novels, or do you like other things that involve reading?
You know, one thing that I should definitely do more is read. I hardly read. I like reading articles. I like articles because I feel like I get a quick glimpse at something. So yeah, I like. But right now, I'm actually into podcasts a lot. So I'm really into podcasts. I think podcasts are wicked.
Okay. So you're listening to a lot of podcasts at the moment.
A few, yeah, in the car. So when I'm in the car right now, I'll just chuck a podcast on, and it's really nice. My kids are really getting into it as well, and they're quite inspirational as well. Some of these podcasts, so
That's good. Alhamdulillah. And
mm.
do you prefer ketchup or mayo, or is there another sauce that's you lean towards?
I'd say mayo if I was going to choose one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say mayo.
Mayo. And
Peronaise is good.
mayonnaise is good. It is good. And the final question today: do you prefer being a business owner or an employee?
Sorry.
Do you prefer being a business owner or an employee?
You know, and this is a really good question because, and my perspective on it is, I'm an employee of the company. And that's how I view myself. And also legally, like in terms of like the legal aspect of it, My Salah Mat is a limited company, so I'm an employee of My Salah Mat anyway as a limited company. But that's how I see myself. I see myself. I come in. I've got a duty. I've got a role. I'm being paid to do something. I do it, you know, and then I go home. I get paid at the end of the month. I'm an employee of this company, and that's how I view it. My position in the company is different to other employees in the company, but I am one of them. That's how I see it. You know, I've always seen it like that, to be honest.
MashaAllah, Allahumma zadu barik, bro. And I think that answer in itself, on its own, is worth a ton of value and has enlightened my thinking as well. So barakallah feek, jazakallah khair, Allahumma zadu barik. May Allah continue to bless you and put barakah in your business. And if you just want to quickly give a shout out where people can find you.
You can just go to www.mysalahmat.com or Google Interactive Prayer Mat or Google My Salah Mat. You'll find us, inshallah. And I will reach out, follow us on our social media. Always love people, new people joining us. And I want to say thank you to you, bro. Thank you for inviting us. Thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. You know, you've been a really great host, and may Allah bless you and what you're doing, because it's a really great vision that you have with what you're doing, and bringing different Muslim entrepreneurs and business people and creators and inventors and you know, teachers and all of these different people that you are going to bring together through what you're doing. It's going to be phenomenal, honestly. Inshallah, make dua that it is phenomenal, and that you do continue, and Allah blesses you in this world and the next world. Ameen.
Allahumma ameen, bro. Jazakallah khair. Barakallah feek. Jazakallah khair. You left me speechless. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this just as much as I have. Make sure to check out My Salah Mat and get in touch with Kamal if you need anything. One of the most humble brothers, mashallah, out there. And inshallah, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Speak Sense podcast. I've been Osama Muslim Amir today. And let's give a final goodbye, warm goodbye to our dear brother Kamal. And I'll see you inshallah soon, guys. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Barakallahu feekum.